What's up, boys? We are here in Seattle and it is good to be back in front of the camera. Today we're going to do a little install on the WRX and give it that grip she deserves. So today we're going to install a full Whiteline Endlink and sway bar kit, and that is the full 24mm beefy kit. So let's take a look here real quick, boys. So I got the new front sway bar, the new rear sway bar, the new Endlinks, and it's really nice. This kit also includes the reinforcement bars for the rear sway bar for that extra torque. So I'm looking really forward to getting this on and jumping into it. Alright, so I got the wheels off the car. I'm going to go ahead and disattach the sway bars from the actual arms of the car. That way we can just drop everything out real easy. But before I did that, I went ahead and ripped the under tray off the car so I can get access to all those bolts. So to save myself some frustration and some time, I went ahead and unbolted the brace that sits underneath the entire sway bar and covers it up. You could technically just unbolt a couple on the front and it would sag enough for you to get the bar in, but I just took it all out so that way I'm not trying to slip my new bar in and get it all scratched up. Alright, time to reverse the process now. I'm going to go ahead and get the Endlinks pre-installed on the outside of the bar before I go ahead and take it up into the car, just to make it a little bit easier for myself, having a little bit more space to work out here. It's pretty slick too. I've never worked with them before, but they actually have a greaseless bushing for their bar, so that's pretty cool. I'll find out what that's all about. And just because I haven't run this bar yet, I'm going to go a little bit more conservative and install the hardware here on the softer setting. Moving up to the front, get it closer to the bar does make it a little bit stiffer, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with that one for now. Alright, so I got everything mocked up just real loose on the bar. That way it's just a little bit easier for me to install it when it's just, I got a lot more space to put those Endlinks on. But I am going to need to do a final adjustment of torquing everything down once I can adjust it at right height. So I will drop the car down on ramps to do that once I get the bar in and can get everything adjusted to its final position. So we are going to go ahead and throw that in. Myself about halfway through this mission now. I have the front bar all the way installed. I just haven't tightened and torqued everything down, because I'll do that on a final check once I can put the wheels back on, drop it down on the ramps and adjust at right height. But now to the back half of the mission. I'm gonna go ahead to get to the rear of the car, take that rear bar off, and then get working on putting the new bar in. Nah, bro, I got dad strength. So the sway bar I already had in the car is now out and off the car. I'm gonna go ahead and install this sway bar on the car, but to save time, instead of unbolting the exhaust to get this bar in, I'm gonna go ahead and put this bar on first, get the bushings on it and get it secured in the car, and then put the Endlinks on. That way it's just easier, don't have to unbolt stuff, it's just gonna save some time for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and get on that right now. the beauty of this Whiteline stuff is on the rear end links, they are dual adjustable. So that means you've got full range to be able to adjust your end link to whatever your need is. So for a starting point, I'm just gonna go ahead and thread it all the way 100% in, as recommended by the directions. Get it attached to the bar, and then fine tune once we get the car onto ramps and adjust it ride height. So ended up getting one end link in off camera just to test it out, see how it went. Obviously you can see it's still pretty loose in there. We haven't tightened down anything yet. So we're gonna go ahead and throw in the other link on camera for you guys, and then we'll get it dropped down, put the wheels back on, drop it down the ride height on the ramps, and then do the final torque spec when it's at ride height. And a pretty important part, we ended up loosening the strut bolt here and the one to the hub just to relieve the tension on the control arm to be able to slide in the end link with this spacer. Alright, got some grease thrown onto the bushing and then went ahead and put these gold spacers on each end. This is how you'd set it up if you're going to run it on the medium setting as opposed to the hard or soft. I just want to, you know, it is my daily, so I want to keep it somewhat reasonable. And so this is the end that's going to go ahead and drop into the control arm, and then this end up top will go into the sway bar itself. So now with the end links installed into the control arms and everything's attached loosely, I'm going to go ahead and retorque the 3 main bolts except the end link in the control arms to 89 foot-pounds. That way there's no stress on those arms when I drop them down the ride height. So just coming to terms with realizing that this support bar here is not laying flush on the control arm here, and just having the sudden realization that possibly there could be a right and a left to these bars. So we're gonna go ahead and swap these between sides and see if that solves our problem and we get it sitting flush. Unfortunately, my suspicions were confirmed. We were dumb boys, and put these on backwards. So did a quick flip on these, switching the sides, and then tighten down the bolts to as tight as I could go so they are ready for torque. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump and get those torqued up right now. I have got all the bolts in the control arm torqued to spec, excluding the end link, and that's very important to leave that loose until we get it at ride height, set it at its final point, as well as we have the brace fully torqued as well. So I'm gonna go ahead, throw a wheel on, and wheels on the rear, get it dropped on the ramps, and we can adjust it ride height.
There's an entire ecosystem coming out of your bumper, bro.
I don't ever want to hear people in California say, my car gets dirty. Look at that.
That literally all just came out of the back corners of Lewis's bumper on both sides. Alright, we're packing our bags, we're going back to California. This is some bullshit.
Alright, so I got the rear wheels on. Need to get them up on the Rhino ramp so that way we can drop it down to ride height. So I'm just going to go ahead and jack up the car from the control arm, get the wheel up on the ramp, and then we can go over to the side and remove the jack stands. Got everything settled in at right, well, not quite settled in. As you can see, I've got a monster gap, but that's just, I've had the control arms at full droop here. Unfortunately, ashamed to admit it, for a couple of days while we've been working on this project. So it will take some time for those to recover and get back to its natural ride height. But there is the weight on the rear, so it is technically at ride height. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the end links now and then move forward to the front. Alright, so I went ahead and utilized the adjustability of the end link and got it to the point where I have removed all the preload from it. And for me, that was actually taking it all the way as short as possible. Obviously, that's going to vary what setup you're running. So now all that's left is I just need to torque down on the 2 brace bolts here, because I ended up loosening those to adjust, as well as tighten down the adjustable bolts on the end link itself and the lateral blocks here on the sway bar itself, and then the rear will be complete. Gonna repeat the process tighten down and torque on the driver's side of the car, and then the rear will be completely finished. Move on to the front. Finally, almost there, home stretch. Back end is down and on the ground. Gotta go ahead and get up to the easier section here in the front. Gonna go ahead and get the wheels back on, get that at right height once again, to go to the end links, torque those down, and then we can drop it down and see how it is. All right, everything is finally done. I am really stoked on this. So what we went ahead and did though, is it was not the move to actually put on the end links first, and then install the bar into the car, because we actually had to backtrack and unbolt completely from the top and the bottom, because with the bolt coming through the other way on the bottom like we had been told, it was rubbing here on the sway bar, so that was a no-go. So we just we had to unbolt everything, flip this bolt around, rebolt at the top as well. But now we have torqued both those down to spec, 33 foot-pounds, as well as the two on the bracket for the bushing over here, 18 foot-pounds, and we are ready to drop it down. And so the order that we went ahead and torqued these in is we did the end links first on both sides, that way they solidified their position, came back, torqued on the bushing bracket on both sides, and then finished off with tightening the collar on both sides as well. It is finally done, boys. Finally done. So everything is where it needs to be. Now we just need to get it in for an alignment, so we'll catch up with you guys after that.
What's up, boys? We're headed up for an alignment at Drive Auto Sports, but first we're gonna give you a nice little cold start on the WRX. It just sounds so good.
Just made it to Drive Auto Sports here in Everett. Gonna go inside, get checked in, and get this thing in. Finally, the sway bar install is a wrap. Definitely were some fine-tuning adjustments needed to be done. So glad we got that done. So huge thank you to the guys here up at Drive Auto Sports. Did an awesome job on it. Really appreciate the shop tour. Saw some super cool cars in there, and their whole facility is just immaculate. So big thank you to them. We're gonna get heading home now. We will throw in a clip here at the end of to show from the outside the car doing some tight handling. That way you guys can see the effect this sway bar is on there. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in. I am sorry it's been so long for us getting back to the videos, but hope you enjoyed.